Welcome back into the Proactive Investors New York studio. I'm Christine Corrado. Joining me in the studio today is Mark Farb from Dyadic International. Mark, it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you, Christine.
Mark, the company has just released its Q4 earnings. It seems like the company has been doing quite well. What were the highlights here?
There's just so many to talk about. I'll try to be brief. But, number one, first and foremost, we're advancing science and technology, and we're getting higher and higher productivity levels. A couple examples of those in the ZAPI program, which is the EU-sponsored vaccine program. We already reported earlier last year that we were 7 times the level that they expected us to be at, the target level, and now we're at 17 times. And so the 2 other systems in that same process, in the ZAPI program, never even reached 1 time the level. So they never reached the target, and we're now 17 times the target.
Just remind investors what exactly the ZAPI program is.
So ZAPI is an EU consortium of companies, academics, to work on zoonotic diseases, pandemics, so quick access vaccines that you can make quickly, cheaply, and affordably to get them to the patients.
Besides this program, the company has entered into 9 proof-of-concept collaborations. What kind of highlight the ones that are most important to you?
Well, we had 9 collaborations in 2018. The last one, which we just announced today, or yesterday, was the top 20, with a top 20 pharmaceutical that we did in Q4. And then we've also announced 2 deals in Q1 that were top 25, both of them top 25 pharma companies. So, the pipeline's growing, the consortium collaborators are growing, the existing programs like ZAPI, Sanofi Aventis, Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma, those things are all moving forward. The Sanofi Aventis program started really October, November last year. And 4 or 5 months into it, we're already getting great results on some of the proteins in that program. Can't report what those are because it's confidential. And then in the Mitsubishi Tanabe program, which has been going on for now roughly a year, we're hoping that the protein we produce there at, we think, very high levels, they're now testing in the analytics and the comparability to what they're trying to accomplish. And hopefully that'll get moving into preclinical and clinical trials if the data works out. So things are really moving in a lot of different directions.
It seems like it. Besides these collaborations, you'd started a internal research project to express adeno-associated viral vectors. What was the reasoning behind this?
Well, currently our main business is expressing proteins, okay? Whether it's a mAb, a Fab, an antibody, bispecific protein, virus-like particles, antigens, etc. So this is different. These are viral vectors that are used in gene therapy, which is a very fast-growing part of the biotech industry. And these vectors are used to put the genes into cells that ultimately go into people. And the AAV viral vector is in short supply and too high priced. So it's being made today in yeast and baculovirus. And when we've competed head-to-head in the Sanofi Pasteur flu vaccine program and the ZAPI program, we've been able to produce those products, those proteins in that case, at multiple times the level. So we're hoping that we can relieve the pressure that the industry is feeling of not moving drugs into the clinic, slowing down cures for disease, and doing it more affordably by producing more of it for less and making it more available.
So as the company is progressing a lot of its projects and trials, with its earnings announced yesterday, are you still on track to be able to continue these kinds of operations with the amount of cash that you have?
Yeah, I think we reported that we burned less than $2 million last quarter. We had over $41 million in cash on the end of 2018. So if you do the math, that's somewhere around 4 to 5 years. So we're not looking for cash anytime soon, obviously. And we believe we'll have some great things happening, potential license agreements, further research collaborations, maybe broadening collaborations that'll lead to even more cash inflow. So I think we're in really great shape. But it's a platform technology, which is really exciting, because it's not cure cancer, go broke. Where you get to phase 3 and all of a sudden 1 out of 10 drugs go through and 9 fail, then there's a crash. We have multiple shots on goals, whether it's vaccines, whether it's antibodies, whether it's therapeutic proteins, and now we've added the AAV, the viral vectors, and we're also working on metabolites. So we had the project last year on a primary metabolite. First time we did synthetic biology within C1 cells, and it delivered through phase 1 and exceeded the milestones that we set out with the customer at that time. So things are really moving on virtually all fronts.
they're also moving as well as potentially uplisting to the NASDAQ, which we spoke with Matt, your Chief Commercial Officer, last time. How are things progressing with uplisting there?
Well, we filed our application, I think it was January 17th of this year, so it's now 2 months into it. I think they've had some delays in responding to certain questions that they've had and answers we've given them. We just recently got a few more questions that they've asked us to we're answering. But the good news is that we had 2 criteria. We met all criteria other than share price. And then it was either $2 for 90 days in a row or $3 for 5 days. And now we're over $3 for 6 days. So we're ready to go as soon as we clear their comments.
Okay, so we'll look out for that. You're kind of all over. You're here in New York at the Sidoti conference. We saw Matt at BioEuro in Vienna, and you were last before this at BP West in California. What kinds of questions are you receiving from investors?
Well, I think the most important thing is they're getting excited. They see what's going on. They see the advances in the science and the technology. It's only been 3 years since we sold off our industrial business to DuPont for $75 million. And then we spent 2.5 years basically buying $22 million of our own shares back. So that $41 million plus in cash at the end of the year is after $22 million of our own cash buying shares back. So I think they realize that, which I don't think they did at first, we have more than enough money to execute our plan. The science is getting better, quicker, faster, and cheaper. Whether it's expression, we've demonstrated last year, not only can we grow in single-use bioreactors, but stainless steel and single-use both, so they have more flexibility. And we've lowered the cost of the media dramatically and increased the productivity. So, it's kind of like Moore's law: faster, quicker, cheaper. But now we have to get adoption. We have to get the pharmaceutical companies to really recognize doing the same thing over and over again, which is what they've done for 3 decades. Is it going to take us to where we need to go? And where we need to go is driving the cost of producing these biologics down to the point that we can get them to patients. Because people are suffering or dying because they don't have access. And we want to make patients have access to low-cost proteins where they're accessible and affordable globally, not just in the U.S.
Well, always great to see you. We'll continue to follow the company. Thanks so much for being with me here today.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.